to the Metro. Today, we're doing something real simple. Beat all the Metro games with only our knives. Throwing knives included. Playing on Ranger Hardcore Survival Mode. What does that mean? Survival Mode means resources are more scarce, sneaking is harder, and bullets do more for both me and them. Ranger Hardcore means all of the previous, plus no HUD, no UI, and no hints. How am I getting around that? Well, for keeping track of how much stuff I have, there's this neat little ledger. I can't really check it while in danger, but I shouldn't need to check it in danger, as most of the stuff is important. Ammo? Who needs that? The important stuff is the knives I have, the healing, and the time on my filters. I feel like everyone I know who's played this game almost got softlock because it's not having enough filter. 36 seconds is nothing. As for my crosshair, there's two ways around it. Aiming with the gun, obviously, but also the crosshair I drew on my monitor for the fucky bit. We'll talk about the fucky bit. But this drawn crosshair was useful for quick aiming throughout the run. And now the games themselves, starting with 2033. We're introduced to three types of encounters. The first type is combat encounters. These are a little under half the game, but most times you're in a shootout is a stealth encounter that turns into combat. Combat encounters are when you're in a room or tunnel and are swarmed with enemies, most often Nosalises. They just love to get in your face, which sounds good considering we also want that, but no, dumbass, we don't want that. We absolutely do not want that. Our default knife has a weird hitbox for them, and they can hit like 20 times a second. You have 5 healing pens, you cannot afford to get hit like that. You're going to die by the third hit. Do not get close to these guys. Fortunately, in most combat encounters, you have a friend to help you out. With this in mind, my first few combats, I tried looking for a hiding place, a table I can get on or a corner that would be Bucky. The intro encounter has this, but none of the others do. This is a cube, and the Nosalises range is infinite. It was only until the encounter with Khan when I realized the best strat is to just kite them around the best you can and let your friend deal with it. Occasionally throwing a knife if you feel inclined to help. It's not perfect, but it works more times than it doesn't. I was nervous for most combat encounters, having remembered struggling on all of them last time I played. This was not the try. This was not the attempt. But Children of the Underground wasn't as hard as I remembered it being, drawing the Nosalises' attentions by running in circles, protecting the guys actually dealing damage. And whenever the sonar guys show up on the walls, I focus my knives on them. And Khan's encounter was just hell. Just running in circles. See, it wasn't that hard. Fucking load. How do I load? Load last checkpoint? I can do that again. Do I really deserve it if I can't do it again? That's what I say. But the library, I don't have any help, at least for the first half. See, in 2033, most combat encounters are kill-based and not time-based, so I can't just wait them out. I actually have to kill all the Nosalises that come in, or all the Nazis, or whatever I'm fighting. This was hard for me, because I was still bad at the game at this point. But given enough patience, keeping my distance, and mostly hanging around the pillars at the front of the library, I managed to do it fine, with barely any health left. Oh my god, I hope I can get more healing. Kiting isn't a perfect strategy. I still died, because I'm bad, but it worked. Better than standing in a corner or actively fighting. Stealth encounters are the most common. This encounter is when you enter the area with the enemy not knowing you're there, and you can theoretically complete it without killing anything. Throwing knives were literally made for these segments. It only gets actually difficult after getting caught, because you don't always get Bourbon to pop heads for you. More often, you're alone. There is the Chad strat of just running past everyone, but this doesn't really work. There's only 2 areas it worked for me. The surface area with Bourbon and the section immediately after it. The only reason it worked when Artyom and Bourbon went back underground was cause Khan was in the shadows killing bitches while I hid. After that, I was truly alone in stealth encounters, and it never worked again. Frontline has a lot of verticality, making going under and over the best strategy for just regular play. Resource conservation and all that.
Looks like...
And I count the library as a stealth encounter because, like, come on. But for the Nazi outpost, the only way through is through. For some reason, I had this insatiable desire to get the Children of the Underground message to the top of the building. I don't know, old habits die hard. But that wasn't the tricky bit. The actual hurdle for the level was the trenches after the building. This is where patience and picking off stragglers comes in big. The holes in the ground and the demons in the sky were also a help. Now for our third and worst encounter, the stationary encounter. There's only 3 in the game. This is where you sit in a minecart and hope you don't die. Throwing knives you only have 10 of, which you're not getting back. And the melee knife is incredibly limited in range, no shit. So it's mostly hoping the Nazalises get close enough for you to stab, and the Nazis have stormtrooper aim. They fucking don't. We're gonna do this one slightly out of order. The first one is actually incredibly easy. This one is after Artyom leaves his home station, Terega. The cart is attacked by Nazalises. While they hang on the cart, they attack slower than they do on the ground, and are very hittable with the basic knife. The last stationary encounter is right after the library, when Artyom and the Spartans head to D6 on this little rail car. This one is different because you're not sitting in a minecart, you're standing in one, and the Nazalises behave accordingly, moving and attacking like they do during combat encounters. Oh my god, you can get in with me! Wonderful. I think this is technically a combat encounter, but I call it a stationary one because you cannot move. My strat is to wait for them to pop into the window, throw one knife, then throw the second one after they enter. This keeps the corpse clutter near the windows, allows you to pick the knives back up, and if you're lucky, you only have to deal with one at a time, making the encounter easier, but it's still kinda difficult. Now the worst one. It's immediately after our major skip. So what are we skipping, and how bad is what's after? This is when Artyom first meets up with the Spartans. This segment is basically vehicle combat. We're stuck in the turret of this railcar, and we have to shoot at the tanks. And there's no surviving without shooting, so we need a way around this. First you walk into this little electrical room, and jump into this corner at 60 frames a second. The Metro 2033 page on speedrun.com suggests using Bandicam to lock your FPS, and that's what I used for this. Then, once you're out of bounds, you do some jumps to get to this tunnel. And this is where I have to learn tech. First, the Mega Jump. If you limit your FPS to 3 frames a second before you jump, and then unlimit it almost immediately, you get an extra high jump. The long Mega Jump is the same, but you're sprinting, so you get more horizontal distance. The long Mega Jump is what we want here. For one, because this jump is long, but for two, because we don't have a lot of headroom to jump. Getting through the wall took a while to get comfortable, and every time I fuck up the long jump, it was another 10 minutes of humping the wall. Until I got the wall to 5 jumps margin of error, and the long jump I'm never doing again. The skip isn't that bad, it just takes a lot of practice to get comfortable with. Isn't that the nature of speedrunning? But now after running down the tunnel, be sure not to get shot, there's another mega jump to get back into bounds, which wasn't too hard, and a few hours of misery. So Artyom and Pavel, after leaving the trolley, get into a minecart expecting to be out of Nazi territory. But no! There's one more patrol. This is the fucky bit. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't do this in the run. We have exactly one cheating. I went back after to do it proper, but I couldn't be bothered to do it so soon after the trolley skip. There are 12 guys down here, you only have 10 knives, and you only have the time to throw 6 before getting shot to pieces. This was when I drew the crosshair during the run. I'm pretty sure I was like vibing on Minecraft and just noticed the crosshair and how nice it was to have one. So I just drew it on my monitor for the Metro. Is that cheating? Maybe. Who cares? But I also turned my sensitivity to its lowest. Other than that, it was just keeping my head low, hitting only the necessary shots, making sure to heal, and getting really lucky. I needed to be so lucky. Oh my god. I didn't mark anything for D6. There's no notes here. It's really smooth sailing after the library, or the same as before. Nazalises show up and start running in circles. The tower is just a story sequence, and getting to the end of the Dark One's illusion, there's no way around it. We have to use our gun here. But getting the cannon ending does decrease the amount of bullets we need here. So, Metro 2033 is ending off at a resounding 1 bullet fired. I beat the game, I win. Yeehaw. Now that we've gone through all the encounter types of 2033, we can breeze through Last Light, since it's fundamentally the same game. The stealth sections are easier here, like the intended perfect stealth route is the easiest one to take. I thought I was making it harder for myself to do it non-lethal, but apparently not. Only one I had real trouble with was Otoborskaya, and I'm not sure why. There was this one point where it saved with the enemies on alert, and I didn't have my crouch state saved, but I was still crouched. So I couldn't move without alerting more guards, and I couldn't re-crouch since I was in this crawl space. So there was a reload there, and even still I couldn't do it perfect stealth or non-lethal. Pure skill issue, but the rest were so easy. As for combat encounters, Likewise, it wasn't too hard. The first one, when our team goes to the surface with Anya, you can literally run past, which I wasn't expecting, but it did make my life easier. The next notable combat encounter is when we're waiting for the fishermen, right before the shrimps are introduced as an enemy. We don't have any help here, which would be problematic, very much like the library. However, unlike the library and 2033, a lot of the combat encounters are actually on a timer and not kill-based, like this one. So all we need to do is survive until the fisherman shows up. And this area is perfect for it. The second story and the fact that we can survive the fall damage jumping from first to ground allows us to dodge the Nazalis in weird and esoteric ways. And since we're here, the shrimps as a stationary encounter wasn't hard either, since the fisherman deals most of the damage and all you really need to do is heal at the appropriate times and maybe melee slash. And I think the last notable combat encounter is when you're going to the Forgotten River with Khan. The Nazalis is in the sewer, but unironically hiding in a corner and throwing the knives at the stragglers that come for you is not that hard. So far, Last Light seems to be the easiest one. Much less deaths than 2033 at this point. That is until... no idea. Haven't been keeping track. Attempt number 500 Bajillion. The Mega Shrimp was the first spot I was nervous for. A proper boss fight that's tough to do with guns. There was a skip for this fight too, but if it's possible to do without. I found this fight really interesting. It has too much health for our 10 knives to kill on their own, and my first plan of let my friends kill it for me didn't work. I only have 12 mins for the gas mask, and my friends were distracted by the ads to deal enough damage. So we need to use our actual melee knife for this. Easier said than done. While dodging at a distance isn't too hard, avoiding damage up close is much harder, and considering he can 3-shot us, or stun lock insta-kill, learning how to shmoo is very important. Another important thing to learn is where to stab, since most of its back and sides are armored. It's only the belly, chin, and the tip of the tail that deal serious damage, while everywhere else is either reduced or nullified. The fight itself can be cut into 4 segments: regular, fast, slow, and limping, all broken up by Anya sniping it, and a stagger. My new plan, after getting good at dodging the swings and landing hits, was to dip under whichever arm was raised, stab its underside, then get out as quickly as possible. Pure hit and run tactics. However, this didn't work too well for its limping stage, since its arm swings too low. It was this stage I was saving my throwing knives for, and I switched my target from under the belly, which is now covered by the ground, to the tail's tip. It can't turn around as fast in this stage, so that spot is safer to get to than it was before. Now it's just getting good enough, and repeating the fight until I win. Fucking yes! Oh! Oh my god. What are they shooting at? There we go. There we go. Oh my god, fucking did it! It didn't even take that long. It only gets harder from here. We get a breather with the Nazalis caves. The stealth section is easy enough. The combat zones are tricky, one being kill-based with like 8 Nazalises, and the other being time-based with infinite. But there's enough cover in the room that running around in figure 8s keeps you safe enough during the encounter. The stationary gondola thing is so short that, like, it's not even that hard. And, the chunky Nazalis, whose first encounter just needs all the pillars to be knocked down to progress. And the second one that is a few feet ahead isn't too hard either. Killing with the knives isn't that hard as long as you get headshots. After here was Otoborskaya. I got fucked by the stealth here. But after this is the first soft lock. When we meet up with Khan after the visions, we learn the little dark one is on the train heading to somewhere and we need to intercept it on rail. The level starts with us in the trolley. I had to break it. This is our first bullet. Happening a bit earlier than last time. It is possible to do this area on a lower difficulty, but we can't change that mid-game, which means we'd have to start all the way back at the beginning. So, for our hardest difficulty run, we're stuck with 1 bullet. And going from the train cars isn't any easier. Everyone is alerted by default, and I have no heals, no health, and this goddamn spotlight is in my eyes. And the game kept crashing, which was fun. The way I got past this one was just a lot of patience. But now we're united with the little dark one, and it's all stealth. An easy jaunt until Red Square. Fuck Red Square. This shit's had me on the ropes with a gun. This is an ambush. 8 guys plus Pavel on the second story, sniping and shit. Then after a certain amount of time, 4 guys enter the square, 2 on each side. And once they're dealt with, another timer before the main gate opens with 3 guys to kill and the confrontation with Pavel. At the start of the fight and when the 2 guys enter, the little dark one slows time down, which is really nice. But apparently, when Pavel is monologuing, you can kill the snipers with the knives without interrupting him, which means you can nick 4 of them before the fighting even starts. But also, killing the front right guy makes the little dark one slow-mo last forever, or at least till the end of the level. This helps a lot with aiming and getting back into cover, but also makes the timers take ages. It also did allow me to see very clearly that killing Pavel knife only is also impossible. The top run on SRC has a skip, but it's for the entire level, and I want to do the courtyard. I want to do the courtyard. I did not get good at these knife throws to not do the courtyard. Doing some testing around the area, I did manage to find a corner to skip Pavel, and still do the courtyard, which saves 3 bullets. We're still only up to 1. I didn't do the skip with the slow-mo, but fuck you, I did the whole red square and found the skip myself. I really don't want to do red square again, even though I could. Now there's very little left of the game. The mutant bear was just a skip, as it moves too aggressively and its weak spot is impossible to reach with basic melee. So it's time to jump out of bounds again, by doing some mega jumps up this tree, jumping across to this elevated bit, and then finding our way around to the end of the level. Then D6. I was hopeful for D6, but I forgot they brought a tank. Okay, yeah. From this point on, I don't think we can do knife only. I think knife only... Well, it's dead. It's been dead. It's been dead for a while. So, 5 bullets? Technically? This is another 4 bullets down. 1 for the joint, 2 for the wheels, and then another shot on the turret. I know it's possible to get over to the tank with the mega jump, but I certainly couldn't. The jump itself being difficult while getting shot, world record playing on the easiest difficulty and me playing on the hardest. But even if I did make it over and survive the enemy infantry over there, I'm sure I'd need more than my knife to deal with the tracks, and even then the turret still needs a bullet. And the final few bullets are given to the Juggernaut and his shield squad. There is no skip, knives don't do enough, not even regular bullets do anything. It's either the Gatling gun or the AP sniper, leaving our bullet total to more than 5. I don't know. I couldn't count over the Gatling fire, but the game ends with more bullets fired than there should be. Then there's Exodus, which I haven't done yet. I'm employed now, full time. Predictions for the future. I feel like Exodus is going to be the same bullet count as Last Light, if not more. I know the open world segments I can mostly skip if I don't care about my ending, and the stealth segments would be completely doable. But when we escape from Moscow on the Aurora, I don't know how doable that is, because it's a stealth encounter that turns into a combat encounter, and you have to kill 4 guys with your regular knife. And you don't get throwing knives at this point, so everyone who comes after is going to be just as difficult, if not more. The Bear in the 4th open world segment, I don't think there's a skip for, and I don't even know if knives do damage to it, really. It might just be the Molotovs, so that area is going to be scuff. And Juggernauts as an enemy. Like, I know I can deal more damage if I hit their joints, but how precise are my knives, and how likely am I to hit them there? So, I'm gonna do Exodus later, or maybe something completely different with it, but for right now it seems 2033 is our purest Metro knife only, and Last Light I got as close as possible. Anyway...